Well, I am sitting in a crevice where a half-gram nugget was found a few weeks ago, and so I'm here to try my luck. But first, priorities. Well, good morning. If you're here for the first time, my name's Stuart Chignell, and if you already knew that, welcome back. It's always good to have people coming back for more. We are in Lucas Mill country up at Beechworth. I was up here for the meet and greet with Chris from Vo-Gus Prospecting, and he's kindly taken us out the next day. And I would talk more, but the kettle has just boiled, so it's time for coffee.
Somehow I made a good impression on Chris, even though I was doing things like this.
I'm using the kettle holder as a prop for my phone to film pouring the coffee.
Ah.
That's not going to work.
No, that's not going to work, is it?
So while the coffee's brewing, I'll just show you the crevice that I've chosen to clean out. The nugget was found there. I was sitting on that little shelf there. The Sandbar Gold episodes have been from Chris's Vo-Gus Prospecting channel. Have been there, and they're doing episode 3 right now. Next to that's Chris from Vo-Gus. Hey Chris, wave. And Mikaela and Johnno from Croc Gold. They've got the fancy sluice we'll be looking at later. And I've come down here and I've seen all these big rocks in this crevice. And I'm wondering if it's possible that heavies could be this far from the water. But of course, that's a steel cable. So I think the answer to that question is yes.
Yes. This is 7. This is like a luxurious creek trip. Coffee, heat strainer.
Alright. Oh, hang on, no. Finish the coffee first.
I'm not really sure that Chris will ever let me make him a coffee again. I like my coffee pretty strong, so I'd put a few beans in the grinder and ground enough for 2 coffees for me. But when I split it up in my mug, in my Lucas Mill mug, I got a coffee that was, well, a bit weak. So that means that Chris, in his smaller mug, that must have been a thick teaspoon standy uppy coffee. So that might have been why he said no when I offered him another one.
This crevice shelving down this way, and here it's getting a bit deeper. So now that I've cleared all off that, I've put it through my bar classifier, the fan culling classifier, which is really so quick. I'm now going to do a test pan of this. I'm certain there'll be something here, but just if there's not anything in this bottom layer, then I'm not going to bother processing that any further. But I can't imagine that there won't be. Actually, I can imagine, and that's why I'm test panning. Alright, so there's a lot of shiny mica stuff there, so I'll try and, let's see, there we go. 1, 2, and there's a bunch of other small stuff there. So yeah, I reckon we'll process that tub now. So I don't think I've used this sluice in any of my videos before. It was an extension I did to the 16th century sluice, and when I've been testing how it was performing, I was basically finding that all the gold was ending up in this sluice and none was ending up in the 16th century sluice, which is good because that means I can bring this one out and not bring the 16th century sluice out unless I'm doing a 16th century prospecting video. And since it's as heavy as anything, that's a really good thing.
We were all in Beechworth to support Chris, but also to support his campaign to raise funds for Beyond Blue. But more important than the money was to raise awareness. And there was 2 parts to that. One was to help people who may be suffering from a mental illness recognise that and give them the support and hope that they need to work through and persevere to find the solution that will work for them, to help them at first manage and then hopefully recover from their mental illness. And the second part was to help people that don't have a mental illness to understand that it's a real physical debilitating condition. It's very easy when someone's got 2 broken legs that you understand they can't do certain things for themselves for a while and it's going to take time for them to get better. Well, mental illness is exactly the same. With broken legs, you've got to give time for the bones to heal, then the muscles have got to be restored, then the coordination's got to be brought back. It takes time, it's a process. Well, with mental illness, it's exactly the same thing. A whole stack of physical and chemical changes occur in your body when you are suffering from a long-term mental illness. And if you don't fix your body, you can't fix your head. And that's something that the sufferers of mental illness need to understand, but it's also something the general public needs to understand. So that's the most important thing. You can still get involved and you can still support Chris and his cause by donating to the prize draw that he's running. Some really cool prizes there. If you're a long-term viewer of my channel, you'll recognize at least one of them. But there's also some really cool stuff like the Croc Gold sluices and a whole bunch of other stuff. So check that out on Chris's channel, and the links I'll put in the description below. But yeah, really worthy cause, really great guy. Yeah, get on board. Someone dug a hole here.
Sorry. Hold there.
Very, very silly. I had my big camera working, so you saw in action, then you probably saw Chris's butt for a bit of that. But I didn't get a photo of what was in the pan. So you'll have to check that out on Chris's video. We've got a little claim jumper. Well, I thought I was getting to the end of this crevice, scraping all this out here, but I just went to scoop, put my shovel in, and watch this. That's a big rock, all moving, so all of that's got to come out. That means more dig. That sand is quite packed rather hard. Chris and Mikaela and Johnno, I think they've headed off to do some filming by themselves. It was a bit awkward before because you got 3 different people filming, so sometimes the voices were cutting in. This sluice is awesome. Johnno wasn't classifying, he was just getting in there with the shovel and then putting it onto the slick bed. But just to show you how awesome these sluices are, it can catch even the really big yellow stuff. Look at that. I wondered where my drink had gone. I put it down in the shadow of that rock over there. But yeah, look, seriously, if I could afford the money, I would buy one of these in the drop of the hat. I love the period prospecting I do, but that's more about making stuff. It's a little bit about using it, because it's fun to use it as well. But it really is, it's more about the making. The 16th century sluice is unbelievably heavy. It's a really dirty cleanup. It catches a lot of stuff, holds a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of extra stuff to clean out, whereas with this, it's so clean. Anyway, I'm going to retrieve my can and have a drink because I'm dripping, and not from standing in the water, but from it's getting warm. And fortunately, my crevice is in the shade, so when I'm digging, I'm protected. But back to it. I'm getting to the bottom layers now. It's getting to the good stuff. I like making stuff, I like tinkering, I like innovating. If there's a standard way of doing things, then I want to investigate other ways. That's just me. So even if I had money, there'd probably be still a fairly large component of DIY in most things that I do. But when I look at a lot of mining equipment, I just don't see the value in it. Like, my sluice cost almost nothing, and yet, as you see in this video, it works so well. Oh, it's just taking a break, letting the water clear. But Chris said there's a brown snake that lives here. It was a bit cool when we were coming in, but apparently it's just in that hole. But leave the camera running in case I stumble across it. Well, it looks like my main camera is dead, both batteries. So I'll just check this out and see how we did. Wow, that is pretty awesome. Would you look at that? 2 little bits of gold. They are beautiful. That is awesome. Right, cool. And why is that cool? Why am I excited? Well, that's the tailings. Check out the first riffle. I don't know if you can see that on film, but look at all that. Well, this is a bit nerve-wracking because there's a bit of gold there and there's some individual specks on the mat here, but peeking down here I can't see much at all. Alright, maybe I'm just getting nervous for no reason. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, that's why you always pan into another pan. I'm seeing the gold come through already. Ah, that's better. Whoa! What is that? Now for the dregs. Well, that is interesting. Got a whole lot of lead. Ah, here we go. So I was imagining closing this out by talking about there being no lead, but it just turned up. If there had been no, in fact, that's not really much lead, which really leads me to conclude that the way the gold is moving in that crevice, it's not staying in that crevice, it's moving through that crevice onto its final resting place. So let's go have one more look at the crevice, and I guess we'll see what I've left for Chris and Josh to carry on with. Okay. So we started here, you can see that line there, that was where the deposits were. Water, when the flood was reasonable, be tearing past that rock, creating a low pressure, sucking the gold in behind that rock there, and if the water flood was higher, that would act as a riffle, it would dump, and it would scoot around there. Now then, some of it might migrate down here, a bit of it would get trapped in that hole, some of it would continue on over here, then down here into this hole. But this is where the story doesn't end, because I don't think this bank here is anywhere near bedrock. I thought it was, but now that I've excavated it, it's large rocks and sand. So that crevice goes all the way back there. So I reckon behind that shelf there, underneath that grass, that's going to be another really good spot there. And then, you know, out that way somewhere. But also, I reckon if you gave that stretch there the same treatment, and especially if you find where it's feeding in from there, I reckon there somewhere would be awesome. So I actually haven't done that much work for him. Yeah, it's a bit of a fair bit there to go. But wait, there's more, because I'm just going to give that crevice one last spruce up. Now, would you believe I got nearly a pan's worth of material, and I thought I'd done a good job. I'd washed it, I'd brushed it, I'd scraped it, but I found several pockets that I'd missed somehow, and then just that the rest of it is just from cleanup, more cleanup. So let's see what we got in it. Well, that's not much, but it was worth doing. Well, that's me done for the day. I've stripped off for a swim. Left my socks on though because they're all wet. It'll be difficult to get them back on.
Just need to cool off before I call it a day. But I suppose you guys want to see the gold. I'll show it off to you right now. But this video is going to be the first one released, but I've got a bunch of others from the weekend. I've got a whole stack more of stuff coming up, including the next installment of the medieval gold pan. So if you want to see those, you're interested, hit the subscribe button and the little bell notification. Plus there's a whole stack of stuff I do on other stuff I do on my channel. Woodworking, bees, urban foraging, all sorts of stuff. Like we're coming into the cider season, gonna be running around collecting apples soon. So if any of that interests you, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. And yeah, I'm gonna relax, a bit more of a swim before I get swept away. Oh, that was good. And the best thing about it, no leeches. And if you want to know why that's a good thing, check out my leech video. But catch you guys, have fun. It was pretty much my weekend over. Oh! Oh, that's good. Just had a bit of a slide there. We've got to hold on to the rock so the flow doesn't take me away.